Hi there, my name is Miles Hartley with Delicious Real Estate. If you're for sale by owner, this video is specifically made for you. Today I want to talk about pricing and how important pricing your home correctly is. If you price the property a little bit too high, your property won't get the attention it deserves. If you price it a little bit too low, you won't get the equity that you deserve. By far the most common mistake that I see with for sale by owners is the fact that they price the property wrong. What you'll see is for sale by owners will put the property on the market, thinking they can sell it. They normally end up pricing the property a little bit off, and the property will sit and sit and sit. And then the for sale by owner person selling the home will end up listing with an agent. But most of the time, the price is wrong. And you very well could have sold your house by yourself if you would have priced the property correctly. So today I want to take a more practical approach where I'm going to show you exactly how to use a couple different free tools online to price your property accurately. And this will allow you to have a better success rate when it comes to selling your home. So I'm here to help. We're going to get started real quick and I'll show you exactly how it's done. So before I show you how to price your property accurately, I want to take a second and talk about why pricing is so important. Pricing is going to determine a lot, and it's one of those elements of real estate that's pretty hard to get right. So I want to take a second and tell you exactly the consequences of what can happen if the property is priced wrong. Number one is going to determine the amount of attention your property will get. So if you're selling your home by yourself, your ultimate job is to be a marketer. You're supposed to market your home and allow as many people to see the home as possible. Oftentimes, if the price is a little bit too high, people will write your home off and won't even take a second to go swing by the house and check it out. You may love your home and feel like it has a lot to offer, but if nobody's there to see it, who's going to buy it? Another thing that price will determine is your timeline. So normally if you're selling a home, you're also buying a home somewhere else. A lot of times you have a timeline in mind of when you'd like to have the home sold by. And if the home is priced a little too high, a lot of times the property will sit there on the market for months and months and months. If you've got places to be, we want to make sure that you get there on time. And then the third thing is if your property even sells at all. And this is not meant to pick on for sale by owners, but even experienced realtors, if they price the property wrong, it's not going to sell. So pricing ultimately determines if your property is going to sell or not. As we go forward, the one thing that you should avoid when pricing your property, as you can see, I put a million arrows there. You have to take your emotions out of the sale of your home. You may have lived there for 20 years, you have memories. Everybody thinks that their home is the best one in the neighborhood. And to you, it probably is. But your feelings and your thoughts do not determine what someone else will pay for your property. So it's super important to take yourself out of the home, to store those memories away, but at the same time, look at it from a third-party perspective and ask yourself, what is somebody willing to pay for my home? So if it's not about emotions, it's not about thoughts and feelings, how are we going to determine the price? Pricing is not what you feel or think the price should be. Pricing the home accurately comes down to what a buyer would be willing to pay, not the value a few years ago, and not what the value will be in a few years. Ask yourself this: what will someone reasonably pay for my property today given the current market conditions? So we have to look at a couple different factors when it comes to determining the price. What are we going to base the price on? So it comes down to data. You have to remove all thoughts, feelings, and emotions and look at the process and look at the facts, and that will be the most accurate way to price the home. So you might be asking, all right, Miles, you're asking me to look at data. I'm not a realtor. I don't have access to this. So how do we do it? I'm going to show you here in a few minutes exactly how to do it with a bunch of free tools. But I want to talk about the data that we're looking at to begin with. So a home is going to be worth what someone is willing to pay. So by that logic, we can look at the homes that are similar to ours that have sold in the last 6 months. The market will always fluctuate, so it's really safe to look at the last 6 months as an accurate time frame. From there, we'll be able to find homes that are like ours and see what they sold for so that we could price our property pretty close to theirs, and hopefully it'll sell as well. When it comes to finding homes, there's going to be some basic criteria that we look for, and we want to make sure that we are as thorough and accurate as possible, because there's never going to be an apples to apples comparison in real estate but it is important that we try to make it as accurate as possible. So the first major criteria is going to be location. So I'm sure you've heard of something called location, location, location. Location's everything. And that's true of pricing as well. Now, if you're in the suburbs where there are a lot of homes similar to yours, you'll want to put about a half-mile radius around your home and use that to compare the homes that are like yours in that neighborhood. You know, if you're in Westerville, you don't want to compare a home that you think is similar to yours that's in Linden. They're geographically two different places, so you have to take note where the location is. Another thing you need to look at is the time frame. Like I mentioned before, 6 months is pretty much the standard time frame you want to look at. You want to be careful to, that you notice how the market fluctuates over time, so that you're not skewing the numbers with an old price. The next thing we'll look at is beds and baths. Depending on where you are, you might not find that many homes that are like yours. Some places you might find a lot, but you will want to find a home that is comparable in the amount of beds and baths it has. Now, that doesn't mean if you have a 4-bedroom house that you have to find just 4-bedroom homes. I normally give myself a plus or minus 1 when it comes to the bathrooms and bedrooms. So sometimes if I can use a 3-bedroom and compare it to a 4-bedroom as long as a couple other factors line up. And fourth thing we'll look at is square feet. So like I said before, if there is a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom and the only difference is just a matter of rooms and square feet, then you can look at square feet and that'll help us determine pricing as well. And then one last thing to remember is going to be that style does matter. So if you have a ranch home, you don't want to compare it to the house down the street that's a Victorian style home. You want to make sure that you're making your comparisons as accurate as possible. So let's get started with the practical part of this video. First thing you'll need to do is go to redfin.com and you'll want to type in your address. You'll see here that I'm using 7236 Stonefall Court. That's a recent home that I helped the client buy, but we'll use it as an example in this video to show you how I would price this home. So we've got the address pulled up right here. You'll need one other thing pulled up, which is going to be RedFin recently sold homes. So RedFin does actually allow you to see homes that have recently sold. I'll include a link and a few more resources in the description below so you can have all the links ready to go. So we will find our subject property, then we will go to the search right here, and we will be able to navigate to our neighborhood. To save time, I just put it right over the neighborhood. Next step is you're going to go to mapdevelopers.com. Basically, we're going to use this free service to draw a circle around the home. So about a half-mile circle that's going to pick up other homes in the neighborhood that are going to be like this particular home. So we go here to address, we'll type in the address, and we'll change the radius to half a mile. And then we'll say new circle, right? Okie doke. So if we look at this map, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so see where it put this map? So the home is actually right there where my clicker is, and all these other homes are in the neighborhood. Now if you'll see down here, it looks like there's some land over here and kind of a main road. So I'm actually going to move this circle a little bit higher so it captures more of the rest of the community so we can get a little bit more accurate with the comp. So once you've done that, you're going to want to take some kind of mental notes on where the boundaries are. So with Redfin, we can define a geographic area by drawing it. So we're going to have to freehand the drawing, which I'll show you how to do just here in a second. But take note, for instance, my lower point is going to be at Refugee Road. My left point will be right over here. My top point will go to Tussing Road. And then it'll cut, the right side will cut halfway through this neighborhood over here. So take note of that. And I will go back to Redfin. They recently sold. So here's the same neighborhood we're looking at. So like I said, the bottom line, the top, the sideline will be right in here. And then on the right side, we'll cut it halfway through that neighborhood right there. Like I said, I am no artist, so just bear with me while I try to draw a circle around this area. So we've got right up in here. All you got to do is click the draw tool, hold it down, and you can draw an area right there. So we will go over here, and you've got your circle. It's not pretty, but it'll do the job. So Redfin's going to show you the homes that have sold in this area, only in this geographic area, which is really the only homes that are relevant to the price of your home. So let's go over here to the right side column, and we will go to more filters. So we're going to need to do a couple different things to narrow down the search even more to find a better idea of what the home would sell at. So we're going to make sure we click on house, unless it's a condo or townhome. And then as far as beds go, like I said in the slide before, I like to have a one number cushion. So even though the home that we're comparing it to is a 4-bedroom, we'll start at 3-bed, and the home we're using is a 2.5 bath. And so we will set the minimum bathroom at 2. So that'll give us kind of a good starting point. When we go down here, we want to make sure that the sold option is on, and we'll go to last 6 months. Anything over that is really irrelevant. So make sure you don't put it at a couple years, because the prices will be pretty skewed. The next thing we'll need to do is narrow down the square feet. With the home that we're working with, you can look right up here. It's at 1631 as far as square feet goes. So I'm going to give it a cushion. So I'm going to actually do from about 1,200, say 1,250, and we'll cap it at, say, 2,000. So that'll give us a pretty wide range and allow us to see a few more options and see what's going on in the market. Another thing we can look at too is going to be the year built. Now, a lot of times in the suburbs, the neighborhoods are built at about the same time, but sometimes there are going to be neighborhoods where they'll have some newer homes and some older homes. So just make sure that if you do live in a neighborhood where you've got a home from 1900 and the rest of the homes were built in 2018, that you don't try to compare those two homes, because they won't comp out. So with this neighborhood, I don't think we'll have problems. Most of them were built in the late 90s, so I'm just going to put it at 1990 just in case there's any outliers there. And then other than that, we'll keep the search pretty basic. We'll click Apply Filters, and it's actually going to show me, looks like there have been 26 homes sold in the last 6 months that fit that basic criteria. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the homes, right? We're going to look at the list of criteria that I mentioned before, so you can go back to the slide before, and we're going to look at a couple different elements. I've attached a spreadsheet, as you can see here, which you can use, and it's a great tool that you can kind of look at the numbers side by side, and at the end it'll actually average all the numbers so that you can get a more accurate idea of what the price would be. I've already done a lot of this work just for the sake of time, but for instance, I'll show you one that I found that's pretty similar. Let's see. Let's go down here. So for instance, this guy, right? So we'll click on this one. Let's see. So it sold for $207, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, which is the same as our subject home. And then this one's the one we're looking at is 1,600 square feet. This one's just slightly bigger at 1,800. And then if we look at the condition of the inside, roughly they're going to be pretty similar. There's nothing major that's different between the two homes. So this is one of the homes that I use for a comp. And as you'll see, I put all the information in. So you get your home 1 through home 5. And then down this side is going to be all the criteria that we're looking at. So I picked out 5 different homes in the neighborhood, and after I compared all the facts, it averaged everything out for me. So it'll take some time to look over and compare, but once you put them all in the spreadsheet, all the numbers will be calculated. So, for instance, this home was actually listed at, the home we're looking at was listed at $199.9, right? Well, when I look at the 5 comps that I pulled, it actually comes to be $200,900. So it's right on the money. Now, this house did go into a multiple offer situation, so it went for a little bit higher than the 200 flat. But if you want to price your home at market price, based on this model, you should be able to price it at around $200,000 and have, 1, a lot of interest, and 2, it'll be a price that will actually bring a buyer. So this is really kind of the formula of how you can do it yourself. This calculation will do just fine and give you a good idea. Like I said, the market's always changing, so these numbers can always change depending on the season and whether it's a seller's or buyer's market. So just be aware of that. But overall, this should give you a good idea of how you can price your property. Like I said, all this can be done for free with the RedFin Sold tool, which, like I said, I'll include a link. And then by pulling up each one of the comps, You'll have all the facts there, and then they even have a few more facts about it right down here. So just a little bit extra about the lot size, the county, the year built. So you can pull all that right in there. So that'll be a good start, and you should be able to go from there. As always, if you ever have any questions, feel free to give me a call anytime. You can call me at 205-613-9629. Hey, thanks for watching.